We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Steven.
Okay.
As we mentioned in the CES news, 3D is dead, and while this might have me doing a happy dance, it has left Steven a bit of a quandary. His TV is a Sony XBR 65X900A, which has passive 3D and is otherwise a great TV as well. However, it does not support HDR or Rec 2020 color. Even so, when watching 4K Blu-rays with his Panasonic HD Blu-ray connected through his HD Fury, he's noted more depth and saturation in the picture compared to 1080p Blu-rays. Perhaps the higher bitrate is a factor here. He would really enjoy having real HDR, but he would also like to continue enjoying his collection of Blu-rays. So what should he do? He says he can do these things. A, nothing for now. Eventually give up 3D and buy an HDR TV in a few years' time. Or B, hold on to the 3D and get HDR by grabbing either a 2016 model Sony XBR 65X930D or the 2016 CRE series LG OLED before they all sold out, or something else. So what do we recommend?
Right. So I'm in the exact same situation. In fact, I'm really in the exact same situation because I have the same Sony TV as he does, the X900A. So, which I got for passive 3D. Same reason there, Steven. We are peas in a pod.
Well, I mean, I think what you're gonna do is you're just gonna hold on to it and just wait, and then maybe try to get one of these Sonys or LG OLEDs when at some point in the future. I think that's what you're gonna do. I think it's probably the best thing for you, to be honest with you. The other, I mean, there's really no other option that I can see other than...
Because it's not coming back. I mean, 3D's not coming back on flat panels. It's gone. It's dead.
I was like, oh, you could get a projector screen and drop the projector screen and watch your HDR on that, but you can't. Yeah. I mean, not for a reasonable amount of money. I mean, you might as well buy the Sony.
So, I mean, here's the thing. If you were going to buy a TV and your priorities were as good as you can get for HDR and 4K resolution and passive 3D, then the one to get would be the E series, the E6 LG OLED, right? Now, about all you're giving up there is that it tops out at about 600 nits. So it is not the greatest ever HDR TV. It isn't. There are other TVs that have a higher nit peak output and will look a little bit more spectacular with HDR. That's a TV that you're going to want to watch in the dark so that you have those spectacular black levels, and then 600 nits still looks plenty bright. It still does Dolby Vision. It still does HDR10. It still plays 4K. And it does about the best passive 3D there's ever been. So it's a very slight compromise on HDR to get basically the last greatest passive 3D TV that there's going to be. So that's probably, if all of those things are priorities, that's probably the best option.
You know what you should do?
It's a fair amount of money.
You should buy that TV and then you should watch all your HD DVDs on it. And then you could do your...
I still would.
Your Betamax tapes.
But yeah, that's about the best option. The only other really good option would be you get a spectacular HDR flat panel whenever that you do. And you actually do, I mean, Tom alluded to having a projector, but in fact, you could get a projector for 3D because 3D is still present on pretty much all the projectors that are out there. So you could get a projector that's for 3D and then get a spectacular flat panel for HDR. So that's kind of the other, and that leads into his next and last question.
So apparently he already has a projector. It's a DLP projector, but it doesn't do 3D. So one concern for him is that he has his projector mounted at the very back of his room. So he needs a long throw ratio. It's like 15 feet 9 inches from a 102-inch screen. So the Epson LCD projectors and the JVC DILA projectors, I've always wanted to say that DILA, but I don't know. I've always wanted to be able to pronounce that, but it just sounds weird. Projectors handle the distance no problem, but most DLP projectors have shorter throw ratios and not as much zoom range. So if you were to get a DLP projector for 3D, do we have any suggestions? Why does it have to be DLP?
Well, because DLP does the best 3D when it comes to projectors.
That's fine.
The LCD and the liquid crystal on silicon, which is the generic name for JVC calls theirs DILA, but it's liquid crystal on silicon. They're not quite as crisp and clear. They're not quite as free of crosstalk as DLP is for 3D. So if the whole point was the main reason I'm getting a projector is so that I can still watch 3D, and I've gotten used to passive 3D, which has a nice lack of crosstalk, then DLP would be the way to go. Honestly, to fit these parameters, one that can fit this throw distance, produce a really nice image just full stop, a really nice image, and is DLP and does really great 3D. They're actually a little bit older models, but the BenQ W7500, it's still out there. You can still find it. It's under $2,500, so it's in the same sort of price range as most of the Epson LCDs and things like that. So that's one really nice option. It is a discontinued model at this point, so everything's disappearing on us, but it's out there. And Optima has their HD91 Plus. That actually used to be like an $8,000 projector, and now it's under about $3,500, I think, most places. So it's come down in price, but that's a really nice DLP projector that has this type of throw range and does really great DLP style 3D. I will say though, out of all the LCDs, Sony's LCD projectors do a pretty darn good job with 3D. It's still active 3D. It is coming from an LCD. It's not quite as crosstalk free as the DLP ones, but they're certainly widely available and have no trouble with this throw range. So hey, it'd be another Sony display. You already know the X900A stood the test of time. So there you go.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.